Hey y'all, Kelly here, and welcome to A Slice of My World. So I wanted to share with you guys today how a television show changed my life. So for those of you that don't know me, if you're new to my channel, I am battling an autoimmune disease called lupus. And lupus can be really insidious. It's actually very ugly to many of the people that happen to be battling it. And when I first started getting sick, of course, I didn't have a diagnosis. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And it basically left me for months on my sofa, unable to really walk and talk at the same time. I was very weak. I was sleeping for days at a time in a lot of pain. And the only thing that I had that could occupy my time being on the sofa literally for months was television. And I am not one that really likes to watch TV. I think it's kind of like a waste. It really is. They call it the idiot box, and I really do kind of feel that way about it. So if I have to watch it, I typically try to do something that my daddy calls putting some fat on your head, where I try to watch documentaries or educational things, you know, that kind of thing that's going to leave me better off than I started. And CNN at that time had a series on called The Inside Man, and Morgan Spurlock was the host of The Inside Man. And if you guys don't know who Morgan Spurlock is, he is the guy that did Super Size Me, where he spent all this, I think it was a month, eating McDonald's, nothing but McDonald's, and it was really making a terrible impact on his health. And what I like about Morgan, which is why I started watching this show, is he puts himself kind of at risk in a way that people, you know, most journalists don't do that. They're like, well, we heard that down the street the man was eating Big Macs for a month. You never hear them say, well, I was eating Big Macs for a month and here's how it was jacking me up. So he appealed to me because he was willing to put his money where his mouth was, so to speak. So anyway, I had been watching this series and it was entertaining as well as educational, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Well, he did a episode called Club Med. And that one episode changed my life. I have talked to people over the years, they're like reality TV or some television show, and they're like, oh my God, my life. And I was like, really? Like, for real? Now I'm the one like, oh my God, that TV show ain't my life. So y'all can judge me because I done judged others. But anyway, in that episode, he had an issue with his shoulder, and he was trying to get an MRI, and he was trying to find out if he wanted to pay for it himself, how much was it going to cost, and if his insurer was going to pay for it, how much it was going to cost them to get, you know, to do this test. And he got the runaround like nobody's freaking business. Nobody could give him a price, first of all, and let alone tell him how he could pay for it himself. He had to basically have this insurance, which is, you know, a middleman, and it was just kind of a pain in the butt. So he decided that he was going to get on a plane, leave the United States, and he flew to Bangkok, Thailand, to a hospital called Bumrungrad, which at the time when I started my research on it was like the #3 hospital in the entire world. So highly impressive, and my thought was, well, you know, I'm probably not gonna be able to do that. That's quite pricey because it's the #3 hospital in the entire world. And when he went to this hospital, it was beautiful. It looked like a hotel. I was like, that's where all the rich people go. And then, y'all, not only did he get an MRI, he got everything done. Like every test, if it started with T and ended with T, as in test, I swear he got it.
Hello, doctor. This is the list of everything that I'm going to get done this morning. Full blood tests, complete blood count, fasting blood sugar, lipid profile, cholesterol HDL ratio, LDL cholesterol. I'm going to check for gout, uric acid, kidney function panel, liver function panel, thyroid panel, hepatitis screening, tumor markers. Great.
This way, please.
I can get a urine examination and a stool examination, electrocardiogram, exercise stress test, chest x-ray.
Both hands on your hips, right?
Both hands on my hips. Ultrasound of whole abdomen, eye exam. Everything's okay?
Sure.
No problem?
No problem.
Orthopedic consultation. I did something to my hip. Do you think the bigger thing is just to make sure I continue to stretch that out?
Yes.
Just to get the flexibility back in it?
Yes.
Well, that was fairly painless.
And now for the highly anticipated colonoscopy.
And what impressed me, what really got me were two things. One, with lupus, everything could be attacked. And from the word go, how do you want to call this? My gastric system has been on the warpath with lupus. And they wanted to do a endoscopy and a colonoscopy. And this is where they put you out and they go with a camera down your throat and another camera up your backside. And if they jam something while they in there, you just been jammed, because they were just trying to help you out. The fact that you got a little extra damage, well, that's just one of the risks. And I already don't like to be put out, because my body is ultra uber crazy sensitive to drugs. And most people, they're like, oh, you'll be out for 30 minutes. I'll be out for an hour and a half. And they be like, is she gonna wake up? So I really don't like to go under, if at all possible. I don't like to take the drugs at all, but I definitely don't want them to put me out. So while he was in Bangkok, he needed to do this also. But what they did was they still gave him the nasty stuff that you drink to clear you out, and they gave him a camera that was the size of a pill. He swallowed this camera, put this little pack on his hip, and went about his day. He had lunch and drinks and hung out by the beach, and I was like, where they do that at? Apparently Bangkok, Thailand. So I was like, I want that. So I started looking it up to see how long it had been going on, because I'm a researcher when it comes down to my healthcare. So I started trying to figure it out, and I called my gastroenterologist and I said, I want that. First thing I was told was, it's experimental. I was like, no, it's not, because other countries, I believe India is also doing something very similar, have been doing this for at least a decade, and apparently if it's been going on for 10 to 15 years, it's not experimental. So since that didn't get them, get them off the hook, I was told my insurance company would not approve it. Y'all, that was what made me mad. Because let me tell you something. I don't recall Humana, Blue Cross Blue Shield, USAA, I don't recall none of them being there when I showed up. I looked at my birth certificate, and my mama said they wasn't there. So why do they get to make a decision on how I'm treated? Like if I've been paying all of this money into insurance, why are you giving me ghetto insurance? That's what I'm calling it, because what you're doing is you are charging me the highest price and then making me take the lowest cost procedures so you can keep most of the money. No. So I told them, we're not doing the test. And let me tell you something. You all know in the U.S. that they have physician assistants and nurse practitioners and everybody under the God's green sun that you see outside of the doctor. You might see the doctor one time. And that was the case with this GI doctor. Well, when I said I wasn't taking the test, I got a call from the nurse practitioner. I got a call from the office manager. I got a call from the doctor. I got a call. I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't care how much you stood to earn. We're not doing that. So I started researching Thailand, going to Thailand, not just because of this test, but in my research, in my looking into what he had done, well, I guess I said there were two things that caused me to want to do it based on this show. One was the fact that they didn't have to put him out. Two, when he got done calculating the costs of having his entire body tested, like, I promise you, I'm gonna put a link below if I can find that episode so you all can at least see some of it. Hopefully you can see the whole segment of that, because it really was, for me, life-changing. But when he got done, including his flight over and his hotel, it was less than what I was already paying in my 20% that I was required to pay for my insurance. I was like, I could have gone all the way to another country, chilled on the beach, been treated by doctors at that number 3 hospital in the entire world, and it was going to be cheaper than what I'm paying over here, and these people can't even figure out what's going on with me. And then once they diagnosed me, and I had in my research learned that Thailand was they were very proficient in diagnosing lupus at the very early stages. That sealed it for me. You know, at first I was like, oh, they got this procedure, I can go over there and get these things done and not pay $1 million and da 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 da. But once I realized that they actually were good at lupus as well, I was like, okay, you gotta go. And for those of you, again, who have been following me, you know I lived in Thailand for 2 years, and the care was phenomenal, and it was affordable, and it was quality. And the only reason you see me sitting here in Mexico is because lupus is aggressive, and not to bring anybody down, but I didn't think that it was fair that if something really detrimental happened, that my family would have to fly 26 hours one way to come see about me, let's put it that way. So yeah, Morgan Spurlock changed my life. And I knew I was going to live abroad when I retired. Of course, I didn't think I was going to be living abroad as a chronically ill person, but that really, like, Southeast Asia was not anywhere on my radar for even wanting to go visit. And now I really do miss that side of the world. I would love to get back to Malaysia or, you know, somewhere in that vicinity. I don't necessarily want to go back to Thailand. I enjoyed it, but I don't necessarily want to go back there for my own personal reasons. But I would love to be able to get back to that side of the world. It's just a different way of thinking, a different life, a different way that they take care of each other, and I really did enjoy it. So Morgan Spurlock, I know you don't know me from a hole in the wall, but thank you for being willing to put yourself out there, because you did make a true impact on my life. All right, guys, so if you have not hit that subscribe button, please do that. I tend to talk about lupus, my crazy body, but as you can see, I don't do it in a heavy way, and I talk about my life abroad, because I live abroad, and it's kind of damn cool. I ain't gonna lie about it. So hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next go around. Have an awesome week. Ciao.